Okay, so we're just going to have a quick look at how to get the facade, or your facades, there should be 4 of them at least, out of Maya and into Unreal. So this is Maya Lite, so we'll just export this out in a moment. Well, in fact, no, let's just go to Unreal. So this is the Unreal browser or the Unreal project opener. So I don't know how it's going to look on your machines because you don't have the Epic launcher. It should look something like this. So basically, select or create a new project. You want to select games because that's what we do, and you want to go to third person. So these are all the different templates, but for the purposes of this exercise you want third person. Gives you all the details here, read that at your leisure. You can leave all these as they are. I'm just going to choose a different folder. Just put in UE4 tests and then give it a name here. Facade test. Not an exciting name, but let's do it. And that'll just create your project. So while it's doing that, let's go back to this. So what you want to do here is you've got your object selected. Remember, it's on object mode. If it's been a bit weird because I've got Unreal open at the same time. Make sure you've got object mode selected, so you've got the whole thing selected. You want to go to export selection, or in this case you can just do export all really, but and if it doesn't automatically come up with FBX export, you want to go to this drop down here and choose FBX export. So you get a lot of options. FBX is the most common format for exchanging assets between different packages. So if we have a look at the actual options available on the FBX over on the right here, things you want to watch out for is you don't want to include animation. You don't want to bake animation, so you want to turn all these off. I think these quite frequently default to on. Lots of stupid things like cameras, so we don't want cameras, that defaults to on, so turn that off. Lights, turn it off. Audio, turn it off. Keep embed media on, or turn embed media on. That should keep your textures recognizable to Unreal. Okay, so, and then just call it facade test again. And so I'm putting it in here, so let's just try and copy that so I know what it is. So let's export that. Okay, it seems to have done it okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to try to find, I'm just in the top window, just okay, it's done it. So all I've done is I've just pasted in where I've saved this file to, so that when I go to Unreal, so now we've got Unreal open here. It's looking a bit weird for some reason. It's not usually laid out like this. So there's another video which I suggest you look at first, which kind of talks you through the basics of an introduction to Unreal. I mean, the way that I usually run this is I click this tab here so that it gives you a bit more of a Windows Explorer type layout, so you can see your files here. Content is your root, and you always usually want to make a folder with your name on it and put your own assets into here. And this is because my name is Andy, by the way. This is because you'll quite rapidly kind of lose track of which are yours and which are the Unreal default files. So let's just put in mesh or static mesh. That's what the facade will be. I can't actually see that, my eyes are so bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it in from this window here. I'm just going to basically just grab hold of it. Facade test FBX. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing this facade test FBX and just drag it into here. Okay, so it'll ask you a few things. Import all. Okay, so it should really, and when it's got a star on it, on the asset, what's brought in here is a texture, the mesh, and the material. It's automatically made of material. So you never know what scale it's going to come in at, as in you should really always set the scale beforehand, but we didn't. So that's either enormous or tiny, or not there at all. Okay, so sometimes, so the thing is here, like I said before, that if this isn't situated, the origin of this isn't situated on the actual world origin, which it is in this case. So if I move that over there, it'll take this is the pivot point, because it always takes the world origin as the pivot point when you take it into Unreal. So anyway, let's just so I've dragged it in here. It appears to be tiny. Shut up. Let's just try 20. Let's just try 200. Actually, so when you put this lock on, it will apply it to all of them at the same time. Okay, so I've just put 200 across all of these values, and I can now see the facade. So it probably actually wants to be 100 to be about the right scale. Okay, so that's about 3 meters by 3 meters in the world. If you actually press end on the keyboard, it'll just drop it to the ground level. Thanks, Malwarebytes. Right, so the lighting needs to be rebuilt. Ignore that for the minute. So if you press play now, you'll now be able to run about, and it actually gives it automatically collision. It's not complex collision, but it's just a basic box collision, but that's fine. So again, you see, you can actually start kind of building a little environment for yourself. You can get your other, let's just, if you press Control C and Control V, it always does that. If you press Control C and Control V and it doesn't do anything, select it in the world outliner, and then it does it for some reason. Anyway. And then you can put on grid snapping. I've forgotten how, but if you hold down V, it flies off into space. So if you hold down V and then move it, in theory it should, well actually look, you can snap it like that, but V is vertex snapping. So I've just done that again, don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, so this is your grid snapping on, this type of thing. But anyway, that's outside of the purpose of this tutorial. But anyway, so you've got these in here, and the only other thing I suggest doing is, it's quite hard when you're working between Maya and Unreal. You keep forgetting the keys because they're slightly different. You keep thinking you're in Maya when you're in Unreal, etc. So the only other thing I'd suggest is that you might want to start decorating this with, you might want to start kind of building a street, and you can create simple objects, drag in a cube for instance, give it a texture, and you can start building a street around this your facade just to make it a bit nicer if you'd like. Other things you can do are, if you go to light, and for instance you turn off the skylight, turn off that. So if you turn off all the lights, then you can actually start adding your own lights, which is a bit nicer. So go to lights over here, point light, and you can also adjust the colours, and so you can have a bit of a fiddle and make yourself quite a nice little environment. The last thing I'll just quickly say is I've watched the tutorial on materials, because what always happens is whenever you bring a material into Unreal, it always makes it super shiny. And the super shininess, this is the materials window, don't get scared by it, it's just there's many windows you can open up in Unreal. So all I've done is I've double clicked on this, it's open materials. Cut a long story short, you need to watch the the video on making materials, but roughness is what controls the shininess. So if I've just added a constant, which is just a constant value, it's just a number, and I make that 1, and then I save that, it'll make it completely matte finish as opposed to shiny, which is obviously what you want when you've got bricks, because you don't want to have incredibly shiny bricks unless you're mad. Okay, so it's defaulted back to the lights being on because I've just turned them off in the world outliner. You can delete these out and that'll get rid of them. In fact, I might even just try that now. Okay, let's just leave that. You might have to rebuild the lighting as well. But anyway, watch the videos on materials, and obviously first of all watch the video on setting up in Unreal. The other thing you may want to do is if you want to find some materials for your the rest of building a little environment for yourself, you can go to textures.com. You have to sign in, and it'll give you all different wraparound images in a lot of cases, buildings, whatever you want. Didn't tell you about that obviously previously, because otherwise you wouldn't have done your exercise. Okay, there you go.